Why, hello, and welcome to issue 744 of Geek and City Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Aron Duran.
I'm one of your other hosts, Spinarita.
And I'm your other host, Cable Hashitani.
Hi, and I'm your special guest host, Anastasia Elfman.
Woo!
Hello, welcome back, Anastasia.
It must be time for that thing.
What thing is that?
The film fever.
With Anastasia Elfman?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's get into it.
Yes, I'm doing hey, the show's just started and I got to hit socials really quick.
Sure. So this month, we watched The Haunting of Hill House.
No.
Nope.
Did you watch that one?
Shit, did I watch the wrong one?
We watched The House on Haunted Hill.
This is
What
going
did
to
you
be so
watch?
confusing for you.
Oh, no.
What did
Maybe
they have
there's
in
going to
Hill
be some
House?
crossover.
The
It's
Haunting of Hill
fine.
House is an entire series.
Which is based on The Haunting.
Okay, let's just back up.
Yeah, actually, this will be.
We watched the
This
one
leans
with
hold on real
Famke
quick.
Johnson and...
No, you watched The Haunting.
No, wait.
No, wait, Famke Johnson. You're right.
She is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Which
good.
I watched.
Yeah,
I
okay.
just said the wrong thing.
Jeffrey
I had a
Rush,
conversation.
Famke Johnson,
Yes.
Ellie Larder,
Yeah.
Jay
Okay.
Diggs.
Oh,
Sorry, I was confusing my tall white brunettes, Famke Johnson and what's her name?
Lily.
No. Why am I forgetting her name? And why am I only thinking of her being in America's Sweethearts as the main actress?
Are you talking about Catherine Zeta-Jones?
There you go. That's the one.
Wow, they could not be any less alike, aside from the brown hair, the dark hair, not even the same kinds of dark, but
I'm clearly like Laszlo when he's trapped by the witches. She's like, it's dark hair. Did you sleep with her? Hello, Judith. Or has dark hair? I can't tell.
and here's the thing: is I have always conflated those two movies. The one based on the Shirley Jackson book,
I
honestly,
see.
and the one that is not based on a Shirley Jackson.
Sure.
book.
It is instead based on a William Castle movie.
Correct.
Yes.
And both of those movies came out in 1999, and both of those stories have previous film versions from 1959. It's like they did it on purpose just to fuck with me.
You specifically, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They knew, like 60 years ago, they knew 70 years ago that I had a bad brain, and they just started this long con
Oh, going all the way back to the third Shirley Jackson.
to
Yes.
the 1959 movie.
Okay.
Yes.
All the way back.
Yeah, all the way back. Just to fuck me over today.
So yes, The House on Haunted Hill, the 1999 edition.
Yeah.
That is what we all watched. So let's get into it. Those of you who have never seen it, it is a remake of the William Castle movie from I forget what year.
1959.
Yep.
Thanks. Where an eccentric, in this case, billionaire is
I mean, I don't know.
Let's
is
call
pri-
him a theme park tycoon.
yes,
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
It's kind of like every few decades, Bruce Wayne gets richer and richer.
Oh, he has
Like
to.
in the comic, it was like, Playboy, and then
now
it was
it's
billionaire,
Yep.
and eventually it'll be like ridiculously rich. Yeah.
So theme park tycoon throws a birthday party for his wife at a famously haunted mansion and invites guests. The only thing is other guests show up, chaos ensues.
Yes. And then there is much killing and dismemberment
Yes.
and shaky Jeffrey Combs, which we'll get to, I'm sure. I do want to comment. I think it's funny that we opened with such confusion because if you go to the wiki page, just for the hell of it, of the 1999 film, the first entry is not to be confused with The Haunting, the 1999 film. That happened a lot that year in the multiplexes. So do not feel bad. Fucking everyone did it.
Lovely.
I'm sure part of the problem stems on the fact that the movie was called The Haunting, but everyone knows that the name of the book that it was based on included the words Hill House. And
Yeah.
so Hill House, Haunted Hill, the whole...
And knowing William Castle on the original one, that might have been intentional.
It could be.
I could see him being like, well, I couldn't get the rights to this piece of literature to make a ghost story. So I'm just gonna take parts of the title and I'll make my own. Because he was fucking William Castle. He did what he wanted, kind of thing, which was great.
I recently saw a snippet of an interview with Vincent Price talking about William Castle films, and he mentioned that The House on Haunted Hill is his favorite of them that he did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell he's having fun, which definitely translates into the 1999 one when we get to
Jeffrey Rush.
Jeffrey Rush.
Not yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was
Too
confused.
many Jeffreys.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's right. We're stick with Jeffries in this one.
Embarrassingly enough, when the movie started and the credits were rolling, I was like, "Oh, Jeffrey Combs is in this." Okay, I didn't remember that, either from 1999 or when we talked about watching this movie. And then today I was talking about it with Christian, and he mentioned Jeffrey Combs because he was like, "Oh, can I still watch it? Is the rental still available?" And I was like, "Oh my God, that's right. Jeffrey Combs is in it," but I never clocked him in the movie. It just blew completely past me.
I was saying before, while you were getting us refreshing beverages, I said I forget every time I watch this that he's in this movie. I also forget James Marsters is in it, but that's less surprising.
It's really brief.
It is.
It is really brief. Yeah. Along with God, what's her name? She's the reporter at
Lisa Loeb.
Yeah, Lisa Loeb's in it too. That's the one that always throws me off. So
yeah, it is what timestamps this movie as being. This was 1999. 100.
Well, that and the cell phones and the camcorders and stuff. It's kind of a fun trip down memory lane.
I found myself a little homesick for that character's camcorder with the rotate. Yeah. Oh, that was the stuff.
That was a big thing in camcorders at the time.
It was, yeah.
Also, Lisa Loeb is in The Haunting.
What?
She's also in The Return to the House on the Haunted Hill.
Okay. You want to talk?
I'm checking actual IMDb here because that was just like the Google results.
Okay, so I couldn't find my copy. I love like physical media, and so I was like hunting down, and apparently it is so hard to find the 1999 one, like on Blu-ray or DVD, that I accidentally bought the sequel.
So don't feel bad. I did the exact same thing about a year ago. I was like,
I was so excited.
I want the physical media because I actually legit love the 1999 House on Haunted Hill, except for the ending, which we'll get to eventually for me personally. And same thing, Anastasia. I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean it's because they put that font, The Return.
They did it on purpose because really it fooled me at like midnight o'clock, trying to like hurry up and get it here in time so I could like pose, be like, yes, I've had this forever. I mean, I actually still have mine somewhere, like in our basement, but I got so stupid. I was like, what the hell is this?
And the images are almost fucking identical, except without the floating Taye Diggs head in front of it. But like they just removed the faces. It's still the handprint. It's like.
No, that's what got me. Because like when I was just like looking on Amazon, it was so nuts that like they're so evil.
Diabolical.
That
very
is
diabolical. That was the word I was searching for, but evil came first.
And update that Lisa Loeb being in the other movie that we're not talking about tonight. That's a Google fail. It's, IMDb does not have her listed.
Okay, good. Because they're freaking out there.
She is apparently in Legally Blonde. Oh no, that's on the soundtrack.
So yeah. So like Anastasia, were you like a William Castle aficionado like before this came out?
Before it came out, I probably ran into stuff with him. I mean, all the stuff that I love kind of cross paths. I love Vincent Price. So I would say probably yes. I mean, I think it's so interesting that with the Dark Castle Entertainment, and the whole idea of that was they made that up so that they could start remaking castle films, and then they just kind of left that idea and started with like because it was how House on Haunted Hill, and then I think it was the remake of 13 Ghosts, which I also love.
I really like
Um,
13 Ghosts.
Oh
I
yeah.
love it. I love
Yeah.
it. The Jackal, that is my typecasting. I want to play a character like that.
Mm-hmm.
So insane, so insane. And then I think they made, what was it, like Ghost Ship or something? They like kind of changed directions and started doing more original stuff, which is
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah.
Ghost
I
Ship.
love Ghost Ship too. I like
Ghost
the
Ship
little
has
twist.
that great kill at the very beginning.
Oh
That
yeah.
kind of makes the ghost ship with the tension wire that
Yep.
just
I mean,
and
spoilers, not too many.
not
Let's
too
discuss that on that. Like, I'm trying to pitch these to you guys, so yes, let's save all that for
okay. I will
another
save that.
one. But yes, I agree. It's so good.
Yeah. I think I mean, I feel like when this came out, this is also when like everyone just it's weird to think now that like you don't spend every Friday going to see the new movie and stuff, but in like 1999, like that's what you did. Every Friday was a new movie. We didn't really have the internet a whole lot, like as it were. So you couldn't have review bombing, you couldn't have any of that. You would just see a trailer and like, well, that looks cool, and I think 1999 is Famke still riding X-Men? Was she like the big name?
I
Both
feel like
her-
she was the big name, but I think X-Men was after that.
Okay. I know
Did
she
have
was a
like the
Bond girl.
faculty? Was it the
Yep.
faculty? Was
She
that
was in the faculty.
Mhm.
Yep.
was this before that? I'm
Let's see
forgetting.
here.
But it feels like the same time.
Like both her and Ali Larder were kind of it in this period of time.
Yeah.
Like Ali Larder was in a lot of different TV shows and movies.
Was she in any of the Final Destination stuff?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
she
Yeah,
was.
I
And
think
she
she
was
was,
the
like, the
Doritos
main.
girl also, right?
Yep. But like I
Right?
think it was
I
that
don't know
that's
why
See, I
remember
love
that.
I love these
That's
shows because
random.
it's like I learn so much. Like Doritos girl, what?
Yeah.
um
Oh yeah, she had a big year in 1998, and then the Faculty 98 also.
Mhm.
X-Men not until 2000.
2000, yeah. Cable, what were you going to say? Sorry.
what was I gonna say? Oh, Ellie Larder, she had had the infamous whipped cream bikini scene in Varsity Blues,
Yep.
and that's like put her on everybody's
Mm.
radar, and so I think she just kind of had a pick of what she wanted to take on. She did a lot of horror, and then she also had Heroes for a number of years. I don't know
Yeah.
how many seasons of that she was on.
Watch that show.
The first season is great. The rest of it is odd.
Yeah. I think, and also like I'm just jumping around here and stuff like that. I also feel like one of the things. So for me, we can kind of dive more into it. This movie doesn't work without Jeffrey Rush. He's like weirdly like he's the only one that's taking the role seriously by also being pretty high bit of schlock and camp in how he's presenting his character.
I don't know that I 100% agree with that.
Okay.
I think he is matched by Famke Janssen.
I would say they have
Yeah.
like an almost campy relationship.
Yes.
In how it is acted out. They're definitely a team.
Especially when you compare and contrast to Vincent Price and Carol Omart
Mm-hmm.
from the original as Frederick and Annabelle. Like they are also at one another's
Yeah,
throats.
they do not like each other.
No. And I think Jeffrey Rush and Famke Janssen just dialed that right up to 11. They understood the assignment.
Yeah, and I guess what I meant, like, no, I didn't mean it like that. I guess I mean we're like Rush. For me, Rush isn't playing the part completely straight. He knows
Oh, no.
exactly what kind of
Yeah.
movie. Even in interviews, they said, "What was your inspiration?" He's like, "Well, it was easy. I just imagined if Vincent Price and John Waters had a kid. That's my character." just straight up. And when you watch it now, you're like, oh, he even has the more John Waters mustache than
Yes,
the
he
Vincent
does.
Price mustache. But yeah, no, that he just flat out said like, no, I just combined those two to had a kid.
That did not
That's my
occur to me
character.
until you said that. But yeah, even
Yeah.
the mustache is
Mhm.
more John Waters than Vincent Price.
I think Merrick made the same John Waters mustache comment
Mhm.
when we were watching it on Sunday.
Yeah. And I think this was his first. Was this the first time he wasn't doing something serious?
Jeffrey Rush?
I mean, I guess he did Mystery Men.
This was the time period where he came out in interviews and kind of went, I've won an Academy Award. I've done all of these things.
Right.
I am kind of just interested in doing big budget Hollywood blockbuster movies.
Yeah.
And getting a
isn't?
paycheck. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he's like, I just want to do fun.
Are we
goofy
allowed
things.
to say that? Okay.
Apparently, yes.
I'm gonna start dropping that in interviews.
Oh yeah, just say it. It's like what I really was like. I've really enjoyed doing this indie stuff, but what I really want to do, Marvel, call me. You know, that kind of thing.
Well, Disney called him eventually.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
I think it was
Yeah.
like it's the same mentality that like Ian McKellen had when it's like, sure, I'll play Magneto. What the hell?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll be Gandalf. It's just they're like, we've already done the serious portion of our career. I think I want to do some fun. I want to do some fun stuff.
Mm.
Yeah. Or you go the Gene Hackman route. Someone asks him like why he does these like artsy films and then does like behind enemy lines. He's like, look, I work with Wes Anderson because I am an artist and I enjoy his vision. He's like, I make stuff like behind enemy lines because I'm an avid art collector and I have a big house payment. He just was like, that's why I do it, man.
Yep.
I think the what cultural norm is to say that actors like take those big budget movies because it's what keeps the bills paid and allows them to do the more experimental indie stuff, the art stuff. But probably the fact of the matter is that, you know, doing superhero movies is a lot of fun.
I'm sure it can be.
Uh,
I don't know. I've never done a superhero movie.
Somebody recently did an interview and they have recently joined the Marvel universe. And so she was talking about like what exciting stuff she got to do on set for the first time ever, because she's only ever been in like more grounded in real life roles. So, I mean, yeah, also it pays a lot of money, but it can be a lot of fun. You get to, you know, do some light stunt work and CGI and meet other action-y type people.
Yeah.
A lot of ripped bods.
Well, I was thinking, my brain, when you mentioned CGI, it also kind of reminded like this. I think this movie was also pushed really hard by Greg Nicotero. I think this was the first one where he kind of ran all of the effects, because I don't think it's considered a K&B effects movie. I think it's just Greg Nicotero in it. And I think maybe this is where he maybe dipped his toes on the director side, even though he's not the director. I get the feeling that he was much more involved in that element of the movie than you would assume.
Well, a lot of times, like when it's heavy practical effects, you let the effects, you know, run those scenes.
Okay.
You know. So yeah, I mean, you're probably right on this case. I don't know for sure.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I know he's got a quick cameo as one of the roller coaster operators.
Oh, that's
Is he the one who interacts with the Price character?
yeah.
He's the one that swapped. Remember, he says, Houston, we got a problem.
Yeah,
And he's like,
yeah,
what's the matter? It looks great. He's like, the flailer, his arms won't move. He's like, we'll make him a screener. So the guy that swaps out the prop bodies, that's Greg
Oh,
Nicotero.
that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
No lines, just
No, that's his character. Yeah.
Okay.
His little cameo in that one.
Let's talk more about the effects, the CGI.
Oh, okay. Well, that's leads into one of my questions I put out there, and that sometimes this feels like two different kinds of movies.
Yeah.
Visually.
Say more about that.
So, like, for me, at this era, I think CGI is still pretty rough, unless there's a ton of money behind it. This movie was made for 19 million, which even in 98/1999 is not that big of a budget for what was going to become a summer blockbuster movie. So for me, the CGI is really rough, especially when you go up against some pretty good practical effects. That are genuinely unnerving for me, especially any of the film reel effects. But also, if you show me something in black and white with a frame rate that doesn't match what we're used to, and it's like you're just watching a documentary and seeing horrific elements is much more disturbing than stuff in the modern era when they film it like in the modern era. At least that's for me. When you've got like the flicker of the hand cranked, probably would have been an 8mm film at the very opening when the inmates take over the asylum, and like they slice Jeffrey Combs open like on the table, and all you hear is like gurgling and screaming. I'm like, whoa, it's very unsettling. So I think that works like really, really well. I don't know. What do you guys think about some of the practical effects on it?
Like good practical effects, you don't really notice they're there. As opposed to the CGI, like really reminds you what era this movie is from.
Yeah. Well, it's hard with CGI because there's always a new program, there's always new stuff, even when they're done shooting and it's about to be released, there's always something new happening and evolving. So it turns into like a time capsule, you know. And with this stuff, it was kind of interesting, just hearing how they were like trying to build the, like, a little spoiler, but like the shadow dark entity, you know, like they had the different characters that have been taken over by it, like their faces appear and things like that, and kind of like almost like I think they were talking about like almost like an ink blot, how it like mirrors itself. So, and that was kind of cool with how kind of like fluid and organic it was, but some of it does scream the time period it came out, you know, versus like stuff that we're working with now. But the practical holds up for me.
I think this was also like one of the first times that American audiences got exposed to the bodyworks models. Like you'll see them tour around where like they plasticine like a nervous system, because all of those things are from that exhibit, the bodyworks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, and the commentary they mentioned, like they saw them and they're like, these are cool, can we use them?
Oh.
I think they made their own. Am
okay.
Am I delayed or anything?
No,
okay.
I think you're right. They felt like they were copies of those things. Because I
guess that's true.
I saw that exhibit.
Right.
And they can be more horrific.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, I can't imagine them putting the risk of putting them on the set.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But clearly inspired by.
Yeah. I think
definitely.
That makes sense. Yeah, I saw that in Berlin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I saw it in Vegas and then also a traveling show, but I don't remember. It must have been in Washington.
Yeah, at the time it was still only in Europe. It hadn't made it to the States yet.
Right.
So this was early 2001.
Okay, that makes sense. I think it came to the US in 2005.
Yeah.
When it was in Germany, it was called Körperwelten, which translates to corpse world.
Yep.
Oh, fun.
Thank you.
But I think the effect we can all discuss, and I think is very effective, and I haven't ever heard someone say that it wasn't, is fucking shaky ghost can only see through a monitor. Fucking Jeffrey Rush as Dr. Vonnegut.
You mean
Jeffrey Combs?
Jeffrey Combs. God damn it!
You're confusing your Jeffreys again.
I am. Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffreys.
That shaking thing, which I think was the first time that effect was used, because now it gets used a lot for ghosts.
Was it?
I mean, look, my memory sucks now, and this movie is 25 years old, so.
fair.
Yeah, that's such an interesting thought because it's like, how do you even figure that out? Like, who was the first one to use that kind of editing? But yeah, I love that kind of editing. I think it's so fun.
It's really fun. And it sets an interesting, like, I feel like, and maybe I just read way too much into this kind of shit, which I would totally do. But I think it sets an interesting rule for the supernatural within that movie. Because I think every horror movie has to have its own rules that it kind of plays by. They don't have to be universal rules, obviously, but they have to have rules that they play by. So that if they want to break it, it's a thing. And I like the idea in this one that you don't ever see the spirits until they're ready to pounce. They're kind of like whatever. They're the thing that stalks you when it's invisible and then until they're ready to jump scare you. The only way you can catch them is if they're moving about is through a video camera. And I love the idea in my head that in this world, ghosts move at a different frame rate.
Mm-hmm.
So that human eyes don't see them unless they want to, but cameras can, but only at like every other frame. So they just kind of twitch and they move and stuff. And it's really unnerving the way they move.
It's so unsettling. And how amazing is Jeffrey Combs? Like, I don't think he even has one line of dialogue at all. He's just this like
Wait,
presence.
wait, doesn't he have lines? He's Vanikit, right? He's the main doctor
Yes.
from the asylum. So I think he has lines in the cold open.
At the beginning, does he?
Right, when it's being filmed and you see them in color. That's then the only before the inpatients erupt into chaos. Pretty sure there's lines in that scene.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to rewatch it again.
Yeah. I know at the end, spoilers, everybody, for a 25-year-old movie. I know that at the very end, when the ink blot says the doctor will see you now, that's not Jeffrey Combs.
No.
It's supposed to be Vonnegut, but like demon voice Vonnegut, whatever.
Yeah, that wasn't Jeffrey Combs' voice.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think he does talk.
But he might.
He might, but it's totally a testament to just how committed he is. I mean, really to every role that he ever plays. But I honestly, for me personally, like his portrayal as the ghost of Dr. Vonnegut, man, it might be like in a top 5 Jeffrey Combs movie roles for me. It's just such a memorable, and part of it is that unsettling movement. It just freaks me out.
I don't know that you can give him credit for that, though. That's an effect, not his acting.
Well, I mean,
he had to do a little bit of it, and then they sped it and slowed it down. Yeah, but you're right. You're right. Props to the editor as well.
Yeah, I mean, he still had to move a certain way. I feel like his motion is. I feel like he had to move in a very deliberate pattern, or even like there's a few scenes where he realizes he's on camera and he just turns and looks up at you, and that's just pure Combs being creepy.
I think that there's a little meta commentary there, and that is like, you've met Jeffrey Combs.
I never have, actually.
You haven't?
I'm the one of us that has never met him yet.
You're right.
All three of us.
No, he didn't. He wasn't there.
Nope.
But we met him.
Oh, yes.
And
I have my...
Yes.
He's over here somewhere.
It's over there. It's right there in the corner.
Okay.
He's
maybe
looking at
I'll
me
bust it out before
right now. Yeah. But that was one of the things that he talked about. He was here for a film fest, not last year, year before. I think it was 2022.
Mm-hmm. I believe that's right.
And
it was the HP Lovecraft Film Fest.
Yeah, it was. It was for the Lovecraft Film Fest, and he talked a lot about his process and why he takes roles and why he does things the way he does on screen, because he isn't interested in playing the same character over and over and over again. Like, it's different when it's a character that is developed over time.
Sure.
And that's interesting to him, but just playing the same kind of character over it bores him. So him paying very close attention to how his body moves, so that can be incorporated with special effects later on that are done post, so that it gives that look. That is 100% within. He would think about that.
You're right. And I do want to, I'm going to amend my previous statement and say that, you know what? No, it takes a certain amount of talent to give off the sort of sinister vibes that he does in this movie without ever having uttered a single word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Which is pretty good because he's just a guy and he's real friendly. Have you ever met him, Anastasia?
Me? Yeah.
He's he's just great.
He's very warm and friendly in person, but he's got a little bit of crazy eyes.
Yep.
In his acting,
Yeah.
in his when he's on.
Yeah.
He just like he transforms. Kind of the way like Mark Hamill is also like a very nice and friendly seeming guy, like in real world. But then once he's acting, especially when he's acting a villain, just like if you've ever seen video recording of him in the sound booth for Batman, the animated series. He plays the Joker.
Being the Joker.
And that's a maniacal character. He's literally insane. And he just like his whole face and body changes into that of a maniac when he is doing voice acting for a cartoon.
Yeah, there have been so many actors that are not primarily voice actors that have had like a guest spot on the animated series, or they've worked in movies where Hamill is the Joker again. And they've all said like, yeah, it's Mark Hamill and he's super nice and he's very welcoming. And they're like, but when he becomes the Joker, he's unsettling to look at in that sound booth. That is not fucking Luke Skywalker anymore. That's the Joker, and it's not cool, you know?
Watch out.
Jeffrey Combs is that same type of talent.
Yeah, and I think also it helps that Combs is such a horror genre performer, that he kind of understands the assignment already. You don't have to tell him what to do. I feel like you just give him the script, the basic concept, and you then let him run with it. Trust him to know the genre probably better than you do, kind of thing. So yeah, but that kind of leads into my thoughts on when it mentions effects and stuff. We're gonna jump to the ending here, so then we'll jump around some more, and I literally want everyone's opinion, like chime in or whatever. For me personally, that last 10 minutes takes me out of the movie so much that I can count on one hand the times I've watched it and played it all the way through to the credits. That last like CGI big bad saved by ghost Chris Kattan, and at the end they had to do one more last fucking party. He's like, it shows one hell of a party. Like, I didn't need any of that. But even then, the nihilist in me was like, they should all die and the house should win.
That would have been a more Lovecraftian ending, which I read somewhere the monster, the final monster, and the effects were sort of inspired by Lovecraft.
I could see that. Yeah.
Stuff.
How do you all feel about? It's not even like a twist. It's like, I don't know, but yeah, I hate the ending so much.
But tell us how you really feel.
It's so frustrating.
Unless anyone else has anything right now, I can throw mine in.
Oh, please jump in.
I felt kind of bad for Chris Kattan in this movie because he's obviously meant to be the comic relief character, but the person who his character is it wasn't that funny. Like it was not well written in terms of like, that's the funny guy who's gonna like make us laugh and feel a little bit more lighthearted. He's just this guy who's tangentially related and doesn't want to be there. So he's really snarky instead of funny. And so it's funny for him to be the hero at the end. Like, he gets this redemption arc essentially as a ghost. He was also probably the least heroic person out of anybody at that party.
And he's very much inspired by the character he's playing in the original one too. They're both the caretakers. They both know this house wants to kill them. And in the original and in this one, they both have the attitude of like, I'm only stalling the inevitable. And he does a good job of that, I feel like.
Yeah, I can see that. In in general, I think that a lot of the dialogue in this movie is pretty rough. And so that's not just Chris Kattan's character.
It's it's very late 90s dialogue done in a board meeting to appeal to as many demographics as possible.
I don't know.
I don't want to jump in yet. I actually want to hear what Anastasia has to say about this.
Oh man, there's a lot of thoughts.
Mhm.
Well, okay. So where do I even start? I love Chris Kattan, and I love it when a comedian is in a horror film. I love it. It's so wonderful to me. And I love that he's trying to play against type, where it's like you go in thinking like what you were saying, that he's like the comic relief. He's gonna, keep everybody's spirits up and keep it all light. And then he just ends up being the biggest bummer of the group. Like and basically telling him, you're all gonna die and this is an evil place kind of thing. I mean, that's like the vibes that he's giving off. And gosh, what else? I don't know. I think it's like, I mean, it's like a hospital and not a house. And then it like supposedly everybody dies except for like I guess 5 survivors, and there's fire, but I don't see much of the fire. It's like what is happening?
There's not a lot of fire damage in the
There's-
asylum anymore.
there's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
By the way, I love this film, so I'm not like crapping on anything, but like what's going on with the ghosts hacking people's emails and like changing guest lists? Like what's happening with
Yeah.
that? Nobody talks like
That's
Yeah.
another one of
about
those
that fun,
elements
like,
that's like
yeah.
very 1999. Like you would only write that plot driver or work that plot driver in to a 1999 film.
In his like words document, like let me just like reorganize this. But then there's also stuff because it's like, okay, so do you guys know about the like deleted scenes and deleted like character arc that they and characters that
No.
they totally scrubbed?
I don't remember
No.
anymore.
Nope.
You
Oh, let's
don't?
hear it.
Okay. So there was like more backstory kind of like introducing like what's her name? Ali Lauder. Her
Ali Lauder,
character.
yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Mhm.
She I mean, I think that they talk about it in the film like maybe very briefly, but like a scene was cut where she's like some assistant to a producer, like a film producer,
Yeah.
and they totally cut that scene. And so like nobody's asking like why she's there or like how she got there. She just steals this invite from her boss that like she got fired previous in the deleted scene. It's just like wild.
I
And
must have
She's,
watched a different cut because there's I definitely saw a scene where she's wandering around with Taye Diggs's character and confesses,
They
okay,
write
I'm not really that person.
Yeah, they write that in.
okay,
but
so they probably wrote it in because they had to like cut that scene because there was
Mhm.
like exposition happening with her character. And then also they changed the ending. Do you guys know about this? Where like it was supposed to be, do you know it?
If I remember, so she says that Jennifer Jensen, something entertainment.
Mhm.
She lies about because she's got the invite. She stole it from her boss who fired her.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember, you can correct me. Am I spiking again? If you the real Jennifer Jensen shows up at the end in the deleted ending.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's so not to give too much away. Sorry, you guys didn't know about this, but
No, this is great.
Around
This is why
basic
we do this.
20-year-old film.
Yeah.
It's,
we all had time, right?
Yes.
So she's I don't know if it was like a location scout or if she was like trying to buy someplace, but she comes and like starts to tour the house on Haunted Hill, and the real estate person or whoever's showing it to her is Dr. Vatican, the Jeffrey
right.
Combs. So that's the twist. And he turns around. He's like, oh, yes, you'll get to see everything or something. Like he has like a one-liner that's like perfect and delicious, but I don't remember it.
that leads me into something that I wondered about. as the movie progresses, we finally figure out why all of these seemingly random people, ended up with invitations to this party, and thus at the end it makes sense that Ali Larter and Taye Diggs' characters survive because they were not technically the people who were supposed to be there as per the ghosts' invitations to the descendants of the asylum workers.
Right.
And so something like that, where they're like, okay, so obviously there are still people out there that have not been revenged on by the ghosts. We need to circle back to that, and they need to get theirs. That would have been a really good little tip at the end of that story. Like in the movie, in the final version, why these characters at this mansion, but it's another one of those little expo dumps rather than like really being a part of the story. I'm on that, I think.
Yeah. I would have totally. Am I doing like? I don't know. Can you guys hear me? I'm like hearing myself. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
We can hear you just fine.
Perfect. So yeah, I wish that we had that ending because I feel like it would have tied, like what you were saying, tied in. And also I think it's like the ghost logic is so so crazy because it's like, how do you not know that this guy's adopted? You know what I mean? Like you're
That-
able to hunt down all of these people, know their pager numbers, and figure out like somebody's making all of these printout invites, and like they're so elaborate as well. Like there is some fine-tuning craftsmanship happening. And it's just it's crazy.
I
But
want
I
to
love
thank
it.
you.
It's like one of those things that I love about this film. It's like I don't
Yeah.
know what the rules are, so
I really want to thank you for pointing out the part with Taye Diggs' character being adopted, because I kid you not, even when I saw it in the theater the first time, most of it I didn't care about. But once he says, "I'm adopted," I literally had a moment in the movie, and I'm watching, I'm thinking like, these fucking ghosts are smart enough in this world to do all of this, to know all of your dark secrets because they were part of their deaths, all of it. But this fucking Taye Diggs' character shows up, and the ghosts are like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess he's black, and the guy we hated was black, so it's probably his grandson." But like, there's no like, I feel like the ghost would know, like, this is not
it felt like
the
a
guy.
very like Scooby-Doo moment.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like as soon as that, the ghosts are like, "Oh crap, we've been found out again," you know.
Dang it.
And then like they were gonna rip off the mask, and then ended up being Price again, or so, something goofy.
Yeah, I love the idea that in the ghost world, Dr. Vonnegut, after they realize that it's not the right character, goes and is like
FYI, Vannicut,
Vannicut. Sorry, I
not
was like,
Vonnegut.
yeah,
Vonnegut
Vannicut.
is someone entirely different.
Right. I love the idea in my head that the doctor, because I'm going to keep screwing it up.
Uh-huh.
I know me.
Hey, same.
Yeah, I love it. In my head, there's another deleted scene in the background where when they figured out, like, the doctor is looking at like the ghost of like Steve, and like, seriously, Steve, he had one fucking job, man, and that was to track down the ancestors who caused us all to die. But instead you gave us Taye Diggs. Like, what do you? I don't mean as a rip on Taye Diggs. He's great. I love Taye Diggs, but I just love the idea of like all the ghosts looking at him like, this was our one shot, man, and you blew it.
That's it.
To me, that is all actually reverse logic from what makes sense to me. It makes zero sense that ghosts figured out how to access the internet and uh, forge invites to the different people, the people of their choosing, rather than the other people who would have been there otherwise. But knowing who the descendants are of the
Mhm.
people they hate, that's just ghost knowledge. And so it would make sense that they would have missed the detail about Taye Diggs' character having been adopted. All they know is that's the current, like, next in line on that for that family's family tree of the 5-6 people that we want revenge on. These are the 5-6 people who are descended from them, and that's who we're after. And why would they know that that guy was adopted? That's mortal knowledge, not ghost knowledge.
But also, what's great is that they're all insane and it's so hard to get anybody together. So like bravo ghosts, like I can't get anybody to answer my text messages and come on, like they literally got this whole party together, which I think is so wonderful
That's
for them.
true.
So
Oh my
good
God,
job.
we should start using ghosts to schedule D&D sessions. It's the only ones who can really make calendars work.
Womp womp.
Yeah. I do want to go back because you had mentioned poor Chris Kattan. He might have some of my favorite lines in the entire movie. Like the one about like it has no morals because it's a fucking house. Like it's the one where he's like, well, we'll probably all be mutilated beyond recognition in the morning. But I think my favorite is when he says something like, God, I want to get laid before I die. And then I think he looks at Pumpkin Jackson and Jensen, whatever, and just goes, how you doing?
Yep.
That was definitely one of his better lines.
You miss the shots that you don't take.
That's right.
And I think when I originally saw this movie, Chris Kattan's character annoyed the shit out of me. And I'm like, he's such like he's just there to be annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Again, comparing and contrasting to the original, he is on point with what was being done with Pritchard.
Yeah.
In the first movie, where he is just consigned to death and he drinks all the time. And watching it with new eyes, these last few times, it's like, oh, I don't hate Chris Kattan's character because, like Anastasia was saying, he's playing against type, like, which means he is also giving the same level of performance, oddly enough, as Jeffrey Rush and Famke Janssen, like he and Jeffrey Combs, like they're. And I think this goes to your point earlier about this feels like two different movies.
Yeah.
In that they are in a movie all themselves. They are all overacting in a haunted house.
But in the best way.
In the best way. They're like, we are going to vamp this up like you wouldn't believe. And I think Kattan's performance is on par with that because he's playing with those people. And
right.
You look at it that way, it's like, oh yeah, no, you're actually, this is acting for you, which is weird. That's not what I would have expected.
And that falls in line with the fact that if they did their homework, let's say, they were watching actors from 1959, which is a very different style of performance than it was in 1999.
Yep.
Whereas the other actors were younger, like hot shit at the time, and acting for the modern era.
Yep. Because Taye Diggs is model turned actor. Ali Larter, an it girl at the time. Bridget Wilson, fresh off of Mortal Kombat.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah, she played Sonya Blade.
Yeah.
Sonya Blade.
Peter
I recognize her and I didn't look it up.
Yep. Peter Gallagher, currently on the OC.
Yeah, he was like the dad.
Yep, he was. So they're all like now.
Yeah, exactly.
And they play it like a 90s horror movie.
Yeah.
He also has one of my favorite lines in the entire film.
Peter Gallagher?
Peter Gallagher. When they put Price in the isolation chamber, which is very unnerving also.
Oh yeah.
When he goes up to the window and goes, "Great party." It's got a lot of really good one-liners for shit like that. That reminds me, like, again, with the effects stuff, that entire weird, that spinning, I forget, it has a name in the movie. I don't remember what it is now. What is it? Makes a sane man go insane or an insane man go sane kind of thing.
It's a zoetrope.
Yeah, it's a zoetrope that you're inside, yeah. But it had like a specific name in the movie. But all of like the scenes that become underwater, I remember reading like how difficult it was to shoot those scenes because they didn't want it to be CGI. So like all of those scenes with the ghost women that are moving about and their faces have been mutilated and all that stuff, like, we filmed all of that underwater and it was like one of the hardest shoots of the entire film.
Oh, right. Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah.
Would have been a lot.
Um, I think yeah, it's got some good kills. I think my favorite. I'm jumping around. I really like the Ali Lauder kill. Because again, I tend to like stuff that is done off screen, but then you see it in like a camera lens.
That's the Bridget Wilson
Or
kill.
wait, is that the Bridget Wilson one?
Yeah, Ali
Yeah,
Larder
Lauder makes it to the
survived.
end.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Sorry, the
The
Bridget
two
Wilson.
blondes. I mean, it was very confusing watching. They're not interchangeable. I'm blonde, so it's okay. I can say this.
Oh,
But it was a little confusing.
yeah. Just I love the idea that she was just pulled into the house.
Mm.
And then you see on her footage the hand that comes down bloody as she's being dragged away,
Mhm.
you know.
No,
Not
but
as
I love that, like, go ahead.
No, you do it. I was just gonna make weird anecdotes, so go.
Oh no, I'm sorry. My feed maybe is a little slower or something. Sorry to interrupt, but I was just gonna say that they're still looking for her, even though they
Mhm.
see the footage throughout the whole movie. They're like, "Where is she?"
She still has to be somewhere.
That is true.
Exactly.
Yeah, I forget a lot of them go. Yeah. Part of the thing that gets a lot of them killed is they keep looking for her.
Mhm.
Eventually, like, man, you just gotta cash out. I also love that Pritchett's character, that Pritchett, um, I think up until towards the end, he never fucking leaves that lobby. He's like, this is the safest spot. And even
He takes them down below to
He's
start, 'cause
forced
he's the only
to
one who
take them
knows where anything
downstairs.
is.
he's forced to, but I feel like he doesn't really want to do any exploring.
He doesn't.
He doesn't want to be there at all.
Yeah.
Because he's in on it. He knows what's happening.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, why does he know the ground so well? Nobody's asking the big questions, huh?
Yep.
It's funny to me that, like, if he knew from the beginning, like, what a dangerous place this is, and that the house ultimately is going to want to kill everybody, even if he doesn't know why, uh like, he wasn't very vocal about it in an effective way. Although I guess again, he didn't mean to be there at all. He was gonna leave right away,
gonna
but then
Yeah.
everything gets locked up. Um, but I mean, in that case, I think he should have, like, just been more worked up about it, right? If he knew. Um, and I
he
mean, I guess
kinda-
that wouldn't make for a very interesting detail. Everyone's just like, "What's wrong with that guy? He's crazy."
well, and he kind of does, and everyone writes him off.
But like, if someone had told me what he said in that and delivered in that way, I'd
Yeah.
be like, because it was small.
Mhm.
The way he is telling something very, very bad. He's giving very, very bad news in a very mild to medium way.
I can see that. I think there's a deliberate reason for him saying it that way. Um, I think it's that, and it's pretty heavily implied that like this house, his dad, this house killed his dad. Like this house kills everyone in his family. And I feel like the vibe he gives off is that like I have been fucking telling people for years that this house it will fucking kill you, and no one believes me. So now I'm just like, it's the house.
So he's just fatalistic
He's
about
just
it.
fatalistic
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, he's just like, I'm just gonna, the doors have closed. I'm fucked because I know how the lock works. The ghosts won't let us out till the sun comes up. Again, quoting honestly, their ghost logic. They won't unlock the doors until they kill everyone or the sun comes up.
Yep.
So he's just gonna get drunk. He's like, I'm fucked.
It is what it is.
Yep.
Okay, no, I 100% accept that as a reason why he's not more upset and panicked, and like
But it's also like, okay, so how many times has this happened to him where he's gotten trapped or like, like why does he keep on bringing people in here? And then also it's like, if you think about it, okay, so these people are like descendants of like this tragedy. It's like, why don't they know? And it's supposed to be like a local place, like
Mhm.
why are they just like willy-nilly coming to this place? Like, wouldn't that be something that your family talks about? Like, oh yeah,
that's a
great
really good point
grandma,
too.
got drowned by some crazies, like,
Yeah.
or they survived
Yeah,
it, or
your great Uncle
like,
Larry was only one of
yeah.
5 survivors. Yeah, that should be like big family lore.
Yeah, we don't talk about Graham, but she killed a few people. Like, you would think that they would be like a little bit worried about it, or at least a couple of them, maybe not all of them, but a few of them I feel like would have known, but it's fine.
Yeah, someone would have brought it up. At least. Well, so except Blackburn was a plant.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Blackbird's a plant.
He showed up because he was the only one who knew Famke Janssen's motivations for throwing this party at this haunted mansion.
Well, yeah, because he was in on it with her.
Right,
Yeah.
with her.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably didn't get the invite. He just knows to show up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Except he has an invite.
Them fucking ghosts, man.
But again, on purpose. Like, she gives Price her invitation list.
Mm-hmm.
Whether oh my god, what is his name? Peter Gallagher's character.
Mhm.
Blackburn.
Blackburn, thank you. He either got an invitation or he didn't from Price. He
Mhm.
always was going to have one
Mm-hmm.
because that was they had their diabolical plan.
Mhm.
The one that holds me up is, was it Price or his wife who are a descendant? Or are they both descendants? And then how fucking trippy is it that they ended up together?
I don't think they were descendants. It was supposed to have been the other.
Just the guests?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think so.
Which means they still got that wrong.
But
They're trying their best.
they were not killed by the house, though. They killed each other.
That's true. They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I guess that's
Famke kills Gallagher,
right.
Uh-huh.
and
After he's put Price in the chamber.
yeah,
He gets out. Famke thinks she kills Price.
But he's
No,
wearing...
no. Allie Larder
thinks she kills
thinks
Price,
she killed him, but
Mhm.
didn't. And then he kills Famke Janssen.
which is also a red herring that they do in the original.
Oh, okay, cool. And then how does Price actually die?
He
I
does.
think the ink
he
blot
he
gets
like
him.
Yeah,
he
the ink
offers
blot.
himself. He like tries to, which is like a total spin on his character. I don't really see him like actually dying to save others, but he like, wasn't it that he was like trying to
Yeah.
protect the
He
he's like,
pushes Allie
go,
Larder out of the way and then is turned into dust.
Yeah.
which is
Wow, I
such
don't-
a fun effect.
Yeah.
That
I
one's cool.
love
Yeah.
that.
I should have watched it twice.
Yeah, because he has that line.
I know
because,
there's
of
so
course-
much going on. I always feel like I'm never ready for these deep dives because I like feel like I could watch the film like 20 times and still have something like,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start watching these twice before we talk.
Because he
about
has a
them.
great part where he clearly is wearing a bulletproof vest, but with bullets with blood squibs.
Mhm.
Because when he reveals himself, he has that great line of "I'm Stephen fucking Price" as he
Mhm.
rips his shirt open, and it's kind of great. But that did make me think of something else. Again, I just love the fact that we're now kind of harping on the ghosts of
Mhm.
being like omnipotent, but also kind of dumb.
Well,
No, but we figured it out. Anastasia figured it out. They're ghosts of insane people. So
so they're
But-
trying their best.
They're trying their best, but also they have moments of sanity. So maybe this is Vanagat. Because if you remember, gags have already been installed in the house before Pritchett even brings the new. So someone let Price's effects team in to install gags
Uh-huh.
and cameras everywhere. So somebody let them in. So Pritchett's like, yeah, I guess you can rent this place.
they probably came in the daytime, though.
Right, but I love the idea that the ghosts are like, this is going to work out really well, guys.
Yeah,
So
they're
the-
like,
the-
oh.
The people we're luring, he does special effects, so they're going to blame half the kills on him. And
They
we can
never-
we can fuck with him. Also, the death of his effects guy in that room is
Oh, with his like
his
just like the
face carved out.
just the
Yeah.
back of his skull is all that's left.
Yeah, no, that's
It's
fucked
so
up.
good. It's
It's
so
such
good.
a good effect. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, because it does
That might have
become
been one of
a
the best ones.
yeah, it does become a lot about Price understanding that he is no longer in a horror show of his own making.
Mm,
Mhm.
Like there is a lot of this that he was planning, and then it's like, no, there's actually something else going on here.
Right.
I
For everybody.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy that terrorizes people for his career in business has been outplayed,
Mm-hmm.
and it does not sit well with him.
No.
Yeah.
Sidebar for folks who want to recreate the opening of the movie a little bit. It clearly doesn't have certain elements, but I do believe that is the Incredible Hulk roller coaster at Universal Florida.
Oh.
Yes, it
think.
is. It
Mhm.
definitely is. You are 100% right.
Yay!
But there's no elevator. And we didn't even talk about the elevator gag.
The
That was
elevator is
so genius. I love that
So
gag.
good.
and is
And
now a real ride, theme park ride. Not
Is
that
it?
exact
Wait,
one, but the
what?
concept of an elevator ride that is also a like a
Or like a
theme
tower
park.
drop.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Well, I mean, there is like the Guardians of the Galaxy or like the Twilight Zone.
Wait, and before it was Guardians of the Galaxy, it used to
Twilight
be
Zone.
Tower of Terror.
Yeah, Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Tower of Terror. It was Twilight Zone themed.
Okay. Um,
Mm.
But in that, you're going to a drop ride. This is you're going to take an elevator to the top because this ostensibly the hook of this coaster is that it starts at the top, which no coaster does. And it's super fucked up to create a realistic. It's not an elevator drop, isn't that wacky? It's the fucking elevator failed.
Right.
You're gonna die.
right. And nobody knew that going in.
Right.
And also the added like literally what they're talking about on the ride up to the roller coaster is, so we've heard that there's been all these technical problems and that like people are in danger, like literally there's
He's like,
already
"Yeah."
anxiety about this exact thing, and then he decides just gonna let you believe that this is real.
Well, you get the impression he's such a showman that he is the one leaking those rumors
Mm-hmm.
that it's plagued with defects. Because he has that line like, even down to the beheaded Beanie Babies, we wouldn't do if they weren't 100% safe. And then clank, bonk,
And that part hadn't occurred to me. He just seems like such a weaselly, trust me, baby, it's gonna be fine kind of a dude. That of course he would say something like he will tell you anything to make sure that you are comfortable.
Right. Which is interesting. And I think clearly it's there in the script, but I think this goes to Jeffrey Rush always understanding the assignment. Especially in the beginning, a lot of Price's mannerisms and actions are clearly inspired by the kitschy shit that William Castle used to do to get you to come to his movies. He would put buzzers in your seats for the tingler because if you didn't scream when the tingler struck, you were going to die. Screaming was your only thing. So to guarantee he got screams, he would wire theaters to be timed with joy buzzers like on your butt in the seat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He would hire ambulances, and then he would put fake plants in the audience so people would pass out or almost die from fear. And he would pause the movie. Paramedics would, and these were all hired actors. It's like, well, let's restart it now. You did all sign a contract saying if you died, I can't be sued. I got it right here. He had ones that if you told the ending, he was allowed to kill you.
So that interview that I mentioned with Vincent Price about how he really loved House on Haunted Hill.
Mm-hmm.
The gag for that was a skeleton on a wire in the theater.
Yeah.
That when his skeleton comes out of the acid pit, it starts flying through the theater at the same time, and people just started screaming and running out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So ahead of his time.
So ahead of his time. So wonderfully gimmicky. Yeah.
Now we've got like the 4D experience theaters just trying to copy everything that he's already done.
With the D-box seats that vibrate and move to everything that goes on in the movie.
Yeah, although I would love to go to a 4DX screening one day. If we don't have one, I think LA is the closest 4DX theater.
Oh, okay.
So those ones, they film extra scenes to project on the walls. Like during the Fast and the Furious movies, like when tires are burning out, they spray that smell. They'll spray you with water on certain scenes. They'll increase the heat if there's fire. Like it's a thing, and I would love to go to one someday.
Well,
well, come on down.
I will. I think it was There's this guy I enjoy his writing, and he's on a podcast too. Mark Bernardin talked about how he saw Top Gun Maverick in 4DX, and he was like, I was in pain for days because that seat beat the shit out of me.
Oh no.
That seems not fun. It seems like maybe the Regal over by Lloyd Center has 4DX.
They have 4DX, or is it like the D box?
I don't know. If I type in 4DX, top result is for the Regal Lloyd.
I'll have to check it out.
I don't know. Well, we are running out of time. Does anybody have any final thoughts about?
So I didn't realize that this movie was like, I by no means think it's a great movie. I legit watch it a couple times a year, especially as we get this time of year, it goes into heavy rotation. The soundtrack's fantastic. That score is so good. It's just a great over the top pipe organ style haunted house score. Fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember the movie. The movie. I didn't realize like how horribly panned this movie was by critics. Like it was kind of universally reviled.
Was it?
And I was like, it's not that bad. Like y'all take your shit too seriously sometimes. Yeah. Because this was this the same year as Blair? I think this was a Blair Witch also. 1999 was a big year for horror. Because also The Haunting.
You're right, it was, because there's a 25th anniversary edition of
1999
coming out.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's my final thoughts for this. For me, The House on Haunted Hill is a perfectly watchable, fun way to spend if you want to have a spooky night that's not too intense. Like there's horror movies I love that I have to like prep myself for. But this one, it's not forgettable, but it's like, oh yeah, that was fun. Oh, that was cool. It has a lot of moments of like, that was cool. So that's how I feel about it. It's a great popcorn horror flick for me.
Cool.
What about you guys?
I was pointing at you. You're Anastasia. What do you think?
Well,
Go ahead.
I guess I'll go. Well, full disclosure, I'm friends with the director, William Malone, so I love this film, and I think it's one of his greatest. I guess we didn't really talk about like the outside of the house, the hospital. They
Right.
shot a lot of that over at Griffith Park Observatory, which is like down the street from me. So I went and visited and took some photos that I'll post later. But so that was kind of fun.
Huh.
And then I guess we didn't really talk about like the stop motion and the title.
Oh my God.
Title
right.
cards. I thought that was really
yeah.
great too, because I love stop motion, and it was like very like gross. I don't know why, but like
No,
the
that
stuff
was
that was going on was kind of gross for me.
it was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the sound effects too. They had like a lot of sound effects happening in the beginning, which I think like not many people are aware of, but that's all like created, and I think whoever was doing it was so talented. And what else? When you get the DVD, or I think it's all on YouTube too, there's a lot of fun like behind the scenes and like special features that are available that are really fun to watch too.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
I
Go
love
ahead.
this film.
It's
And
so
I
much
think it's
fun.
great. And especially like when we do the flashbacks or we're in the operating room or we're seeing, I love those moments where we can't see the ghost, but we can see the ghost through her like little video camera. I think that's so great and so weird. And I wish they did more things like that now, but I guess, times have changed.
Yeah.
And also I thought it was like interesting that they chose like a vat of blood versus acid, but I guess I kind of get it because they wanted her like, digging around, and then Tay Diggs is like, why are you horsing around? What are you doing? She's like, I'm looking for you. It's just all these like little odd moments that I just like find hilarious, which they're probably not meant to be.
Yeah,
I forgot that was supposed to be the vat of acid like homage.
Yeah, that hadn't occurred to me either.
Yep,
That's
totally
really good.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Denise, what are your kind of final thoughts on?
It's a fun movie. I should have also watched the 1959 so that I could see more of those parallels and like what they're nodding to, and maybe I'd have a deeper appreciation for it. But for me, the thing is that, like I said, it's very much of its time. There are so many details about the movie, like the CGI and some of the acting styles that like really put a timestamp on it, that make it a little less of an ideal horror film for me. But it's a fun movie. It's not like I don't dislike it.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I will say, if you watch it if you want, Return to the House on Haunted Hill is not that good. And I don't mean any
So
disrespect to the crew.
I
No
shouldn't
one sets
watch
out to
this
make a
one.
bad movie. Making movies is fucking hard. That's why I always say for the credits, even if I didn't like the movie, everyone busts their ass, but it's pretty weak. It's pretty rough.
Now I
Cable?
heard. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Cable.
That's all right. I think that the last time that I watched this, I was still like, "Yeah, this is all right." It was this watch through that I'm like, there are a lot of things that I enjoy about this that I hadn't appreciated before, and it was through that I was watching, through that lens that I was watching Rush's performance, Johnson's performance, Katan's performance, and going, "Oh, you're doing exactly what you were assigned to do. You got what this movie was, and you went, okay, we're just going to dial this up, and we're going to go at full force."
Yeah.
And everyone else, they put in perfectly fine performances for who they were supposed to be for 1999 and in a horror movie. It's like, yep, you hit every single mark that you should have. So I'm not sure why this movie was so negatively panned either, but I do kind of remember that it was not. Everyone's like, "Man, this is stupid."
I mean, I can see where, again, like you've got all these like hot actors of the moment
Sure.
who are performing in a way that an audience might expect, and then you've got the other half of the cast sort of paying homage to a different style of film. It can really come off as overacting.
Yeah.
If you don't know what they're doing with those characters.
Like even down to the smoke monster at the end. It's like, yeah, okay, that was weak, but if you look back at it, it's like that's what they could do in 1999. And they sat down at a table and went, you know what would be really creepy is if it looked like Rorschach ink blots.
Which is a cool effect.
Which ties into the fact that it's a psychiatric hospital. It's like, yeah, that I get. I 100% get sitting at the table and going, this is what it looks like. It's like, well, of course it does. That's what that would look like.
Yeah. But if, if the, I don't say the average, but if like the bulk of moviegoers don't know those kinds of details or don't, have the Wikipedia page to, to learn these things after.
Sure.
Or even, like have the inquisitiveness to be like, I wonder why they did that, and start like hunting down more information.
Yeah.
Like that all the stuff that we have put together through our knowledge. I can see where a lot of people would just be like, that was dumb.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I mean, overall, the real big takeaway is go back and watch a movie more than once.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
super
sure.
fun. Yeah. Give it a shot again. If you wrote this off, give it a shot again. I mean, Warner Brothers was happy. I think it was like a $60 million budget, and it cleared like 47. So
great.
Yeah, that's great for numbers wise, stuff like that.
That's why they made a sequel.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I feel like we could keep going on with random anecdotes, but we probably should wrap this one up. And we did our film fever dive into the House on Haunted Hill with Anastasia Elfman. So we'll have you on in a month again. We're going back to classic horror. I don't remember if we picked something yet.
We haven't.
I feel like
for the reminder.
I feel like we haven't had. Yeah, I feel like we got to go back to the classic horror, but so we'll see where we go from there.
Yes, can't wait.
Yeah,
but we do have our November one picked out.
Yeah,
we do.
Yes,
we could probably.
Say it.
I think we should.
Yeah.
So we're gonna flop back over to more modern, and we're gonna do Death Becomes Her. which is another 90s. I believe that one is
Er,
probably considered a cult classic.
It is.
It is. The
Yes.
one big thing I remember about Death Becomes Her is that even to this day, effects nerds marvel at the filming through her hole in her torso scene.
Yep.
Even now, they're like, even now, that shot's fucking
Oh, it's
hard
the
to
most
do.
iconic thing about the movie.
Yeah, they mentioned even now that shot's hard to pull off, and this was, you know.
I am
But yeah.
looking. I am really looking forward to rewatching that. So
Yeah.
Me too.
it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And also whatever we decide to watch in October.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with that,
Surprise.
it'll be a huge surprise. Yeah. With that, I am Ron Duran.
I'm Pinarita.
I'm Cable Hashitani.
And I'm Anastasia Elfman.
Thank you all for joining us, and we will talk to you in 2 weeks. And Anastasia, we will have you on in a month. Bye. Stay spooky.